Jane Castor. I am mayor of the city of Tampa. Dessa, the office dog, and I decided it would be great to have, an office dog. She's like the ultimate stress reliever, and her job is to greet people and do what she's doing right now, which is take copious naps all day. But her actual name is Alcaldesa, which means female mayor in Spanish. So she loves everybody. She does not like other dogs or cats. We can be making the most difficult decisions in here, very tense, stressful environment, and she just jumps up in somebody's lap and, so she's good. I was born and raised in Tampa. I actually went to the University of Tampa on an athletic scholarship, which really was the key that opened up every door for me. Went to the Tampa Police Department. I had aspirations of working in the federal service, and there was a freeze on hiring, and so I went to the Tampa Police Department, really having no idea what it entailed. And for 31 years, it was never a day I didn't want to go to work. I was the chief there for 6 years, retired. I did consulting work with law enforcement, and then had the opportunity to run for mayor of Tampa. I did that in 2019, and now I'm on my second term. People say that they could never be a police officer, and that's true. It's not for everyone, but if it is for you, you'll never work a day in your life. It's the types of individuals that are drawn to public service are clearly people who have a servant's heart. They want to make their community better, to help people. And that, with law enforcement, there's never two situations that are the same. You're kind of your own boss out there in the street. You get to meet all kinds of people. And one of the things I say when we swear in new recruits, I say that the great thing about being a police officer, the upside is that you get to see and do things nobody else gets to see and do. Downside is you have to see and do things that nobody should have to see or do. So those are the kind of, some of those memories that you wish you didn't have, you carry with you the rest of your life. But just the satisfaction of being able to help people in their time of need is something that drives police officers or first responders, period. People are, they would always say, oh, did you always want to be the chief? And I said, no. I said, mostly when I had like 2 years on and really didn't know what I was doing. And, you're like, make me chief, I'll fix this place. But so I never really had any aspirations of being the chief, but I'm pretty competitive. And so I would do well on the promotional exams. And so you just sort of rise through the ranks. And being the chief in law enforcement organizations are relatively flat. We had 1,300 employees at the Tampa Police Department, 1,000 sworn officers, a little over 300 support, and 10 staff members. So, it's pretty flat organization. So your opportunity to be the chief is pretty limited. And guess I was just the right place at the right time. But the mayor decides, in our form of government, strong mayor here in Tampa, decides who the police chief and the fire chief appoints them. The qualifications of a good leader are pretty consistent no matter what field you're in, and really no matter what position you're in either. I tell people that leadership comes at every level. You don't have to be wearing the stars or have the nameplate or the big office to be designated as a leader. You can be a leader in any position in your life or in any organization or activity as well. But I believe what people look for in a good leader are things like honesty, transparency, being fair, equitable, consistent, not afraid to do the job yourself and good listener, inclusive of others' opinions, and really just understanding the organization as well. Those are what I believe most people look for in a good leader. Somebody that they trust, they respect, and somebody that understands the part that each individual plays in the success of an organization. I was the assistant chief of operations, and that means I was in charge of everybody that is in uniform. And I did that, I was in that position for 5 years, and the chief at the time, Steve Hogue, was a friend of mine, and he was a great mentor. And he mentored me for 5 years for the position of chief of police. And so, I was like, oh, I'm prepared for this. I've got this down. But until you sit in that seat, you have no idea the weight of the responsibility of that position. And so I knew that coming into this position as mayor, and that was a very beneficial experience, lesson learned that I was able to bring in to the position of mayor. Now, having been a police officer, I like to joke and say nobody calls 911 to say, I just want to let you know everything's going well at my house. People call when they're either at their lowest point or when they can't figure out a situation. And so crisis management is really what you do every day as a police officer, crises on a small to large scale. And so that is very beneficial in the position of mayor as well. You have to bring your own personality and your own approach to the position of leadership, but those qualities that everyone expects in a good leader, again, just being honest, consistent, fair, approachable, you have the knowledge of the position that you're in as well. I think that is important. And we're all creatures of habit. I always say, people who say they like change are either liars, or what they mean is change somebody else's world, not mine. And so we're kind of used to routine and safety and security in the positions we're in. So I would always tell young officers, move around every couple of years so you can learn different positions and don't become a creature of habit and just stay in one location your entire career, because you won't be as valuable to the organization or the community if you just stay one-dimensional. If I had to sort of digest all of the responsibilities of the position of mayor down to a few, would be one of the reasons I ran for this position is our city is growing so quickly, and it's going to change more in this decade than it has in my entire life. So to be a part of that change is quite an honor, but the responsibility of that as well, back to one of the reasons I ran for this position, is that I want to ensure that as our city grows successfully, that we maintain our diversity, that we maintain our culture, and we remember our history. That is very, very important to me. The inspiration just comes from the community every day, comes from the team, comes from the tasks and the initiatives that we have to provide every day for our community. And then also those projects, or that vision for the future where we can start on those projects today and build those for the coming generations. So I guess everything motivates me and excites me about this position. Communication is probably the most important tool for any individual in your personal and professional life. What you say to someone and how they interpret that, or what they think you said, it's very, very important that you communicate very clearly, and that you ensure that you get response from those individuals you're communicating with, that they understand the message. Miscommunication's just probably at the root of most problems that we have, right? Internally, with my staff, they hopefully all feel very, very comfortable with expressing their views, their opinions. And, I recruit very strong individuals for every position in the city. So everybody's, type A squared times 3. And they all have their viewpoints and their positions on issues. And so we come in for staff meetings, and I expect them to all share those thoughts and those views. But then when we decide what the position is going to be, then we all walk out the door united in that position. Whether it was their desire or their option or the position they wanted to take, we have to provide a united front. And then communicating with the public is also critically important. I have to make decisions in the best interest of the community, and you can't try to get 100% support on all of those decisions that are made, or you'd never get anything done. And so again, I try to gather all the facts, all the information, listen to not only the community but to the staff, and then just make decisions in the best interest of the community. Because there are a lot of elements that go into a decision that nobody's ever going to understand. It's not a popularity contest. You're making decisions to grow the city successfully. I'd like to think that I'm a pretty patient person. I don't know if that's a skill I picked up as mayor, because a lot that goes on in this position, people ask, like, what has surprised you about being mayor? What's the most surprising element? And it sounds sort of naive, but it's the politics of it. Like, I came in this position to get things done and to grow the city, and there are other individuals that, it's based on politics rather than decisions made in the best interest of the community. So that's a bit surprising. I'm not saying all people are like that. It was just surprising that exists to the degree that it does. If we keep it to holidays, I would say, and this isn't a whole community event, but this is around Christmas, and it's on bikes, and it's a group of guys that just decided, how cool it is to ride bikes and what an experience that was as a young kid when they received their first bike. And now it's grown into, they have a 2-day build program where volunteers from the community come down to the Amalie Arena, and they put together thousands of bikes, and then they give those out throughout the year. So before Christmas, they have a float that they have in the Gasparilla parades, and so we load that float with bicycles, and we go to different parks throughout the city, and the Parks and Recreation teams have made up a list of kids that are receiving the bikes, and they already know their age, their size, so they have the bikes ready for them. So I get to call out all the kids' names, and they get to come and get bikes. It is the best day ever. It is so much fun, and the kids are so excited, and it's just, the entire day is just pure joy.